Big up DJ Money. Thank you, brother, for coming on every single week, dropping that fire, dropping those tunes, getting us all pumped up. Let's give a big shout out for DJ Money. And I want to see fire in the chat right now because we got to show DJ Money some love. So, man, thank you for everything that you do for us. The DYOS community appreciates you greatly. So I want to welcome everybody to DYOS. If this is your first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Reggie Waterman. I'm a marketer, workshop facilitator, speaker, host, and now a published author. Jeez, that has a nice ring to it. So I just launched my book, well, pre-order phase right now, called Discover Your Other Self. It's based on this series where we dive deep into the hardships, trials, and tribulations of life. But it's not all about focusing on those hardships, because at the end of the day, we want to learn from those hardships, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a rainbow, after the rain, right? So we want to focus on how to overcome life's challenges. And this is what the show is all about. Week over week, we'll be bringing on guests and they'll share their stories about how they overcame life's challenges, but how did they overcome? How did they become successful? What is the formula? And what did they really and truly discover about themselves through that moment of hard times? So just to let you know, this is a LinkedIn Live like no other. You may or may not see a few fireball emojis floating around in the comment section, but that's on purpose. That's designed because we're hype. We keep up that intensity, right? So I want to know if you guys are fired up. And when I say fired up, I mean there's got to be fire in the chat. So anytime I say I want fire in the chat, I want to see those fireball emojis popping up on screen, all right? Because we're going to keep this thing going. Now, this season in particular is going to be a little bit different than my previous seasons. We're not going to be talking about personal branding, how to, create better connections in a network, not how to generate, millions of followers for your network. But really and truly, this is going to be talking about healing. So we're going to be going in a roundabout way to really tap into who you truly are by going back to your past traumatic experiences. It could be stemming from childhood, teenagehood, adulthood, whatever the case may be. But in order for you to step into your greatness, you need to get healed. We all need healing. Now, in my book, Discover Your Other Self, I talk about 2019, and 2019 was a traumatic moment in my life. And I usually say 2019 was my COVID-19. And I feel like that was a setup for things to come and all the things that I've been doing right now. Because if it wasn't for that traumatic moment, and it's all in the book, I wouldn't even be talking to you right now. And in order for me to really discover what my purpose was, I had to go through that traumatic experience. I had to get the healing, but I had to do the work. So the whole point of this season is to encourage you to look within, to not tuck everything under the rug, but to get healed. Because when you get healed, not only are you going to be able to discover your other self, but you're about to make some waves and impact other people's lives that you never thought or even imagined. And what I'm prepared to do right now is bring on a couple of guests. Yes, I got guests. I talked about that earlier. We got guests, and listen, they're going to share their stories. But I just want to know one thing. Are you ready? Are you ready? So if you're ready, say yes. And I want fire in the chat, okay? So let's get this party started. So right now, I want to introduce to you two ladies. First up, Annie Lieb, founder and CEO of Annie LLC, where she is on a mission to help others live a fulfilled life. And then the other guest is Karina Dorothy Creel, and she is the CEO of Art by CDK. She is also the VP of branding at Annie Lieb LLC. So without further ado, I want to see fire in the chat because I want to welcome these two ladies to the show. Let's go. Let's go.
Wah, wah, wah.
Fire in the chat.
Fire in the chat.
Welcome, Annie and Karina. How are you guys doing? Or ladies doing? Sorry.
Thank you for having us. I speak for Karina too. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. No, it's great to be here. I'm doing really great. How are you doing?
Annie? I'm doing well. I'm just happy that you both of you have joined me on this journey of healing. I think it's super important for us to really tap into, times of hardship, because there's lessons in that, right? We all question it, like, why me? Why is this happening to me? But why not? Because at the end of the day, it's happening for you, right? So my question to both of you is, and let's start off the gate. Why is healing so important to you guys, or you ladies?
I would say, well, first of all, I mean, it's my life's purpose to help others heal, and in helping others heal, I heal. Why it's so important is because what Mike Paterano and I co-created, the breath framework, it is a journey of healing. So if, later I can explain what it is, but it kind of takes you from the beginning. It actually reflects exactly what my journey has been and is, as well as his. And it takes you from the beginning of, where you actually began through to a place of healing where you can be in your soul center, meaning a fulfilled, whole, one, aligned with your core values. So, I mean, I believe all of that's important. So that's why healing is so important.
Definitely.
I love that. I love that. You talked about like the soul center, and, we'll obviously dive deeper into what the soul center experience means for you and for the clients that you have that are part of that journey. Yeah. Karina.
For me, I mean, it's the same answer, really. I wasn't sure what my purpose was, to be honest, at first. And I really sat with myself and in meditation and just day to day and asked the creator. I was like, what is my purpose? Not out of being on my knees, like, what is my purpose? What is the point here? Although I've had a lot of moments like that, and those are really character building moments. So if those are moments that you're experiencing right now, just know, like, that's a good thing. But whenever I asked that question in a moment of clarity, it came very clearly to me. It was that my purpose is to heal here, to heal myself, to heal the people around me. Specifically, it said to heal the home, starting with the home which homes us, which is our body. So it's like healing myself on an individual level helps heal my family, helps heal the family of my family. And as a race, as a human species, like, we are family. So we are here to heal one another through our own individual healing. That was my purpose here. And so, I mean, what is more important than that? Like, why is healing important? It's the most important thing, because we've been through so much as sapiens that we really need to heal from if we're going to be able to create something that doesn't perpetuate the same kind of traumas. I know it's possible because that's what we're doing. So that's the mission here. We have to humble ourselves to that.
All right, awesome. And what I like both of you talked about was purpose. My question is, and maybe you could help the audience, because there might be a lot of people, there's a lot of people out there that really haven't discovered their purpose. They always ask the question, like, what's my purpose? I'm trying to discover my purpose. How did the both of you tap into your purpose? What was that moment that you said, okay, like the light bulb went off and you said to yourself, okay, this is my purpose, and I'm going to start building a foundation so that I could start taking action towards it, which then leads to momentum, because things start to open up as you go down the path of your purpose. So can you rewind the tape for us and kind of explain that, so that we kind of, because at the end of the day, we want to help people that haven't discovered their purpose, give them little tips and tricks in the formula on how to discover it. And I know it's different for all, but what's your story?
Do you want me to go first, Karina?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So my story goes back a while to, it really, my true journey started in 2015 when I was signing my divorce papers in an auto body shop because that's where the notary was. And I was like, what has my life come to? And I looked over and I see a Ralph Waldo Emerson poem on the wall that says something about breath. And I'm like, it just hit me. And I'm like, you can strip me of everything, but you can't take my breath. That's mine. And I turned around and I went to the tattoo parlor and I wrote it on a napkin and they traced it and put it on my hip, the word breath. Fast forward several years, I went back to school to get my executive MBA at the end of 2018 for a 20-month program. I started a little consulting firm where I was doing some pharmaceutical consulting because that's what business I was always in. And COVID hit. So I was graduating with my executive MBA and everybody was like, what corporate job are you going to get now? And that was my whole big plan, right? Before I found myself and my purpose. So trauma, which was not getting the jobs that I wanted, COVID happening, everything in life changing, and true perspective is what caused me to be able to find my purpose. That's when I met Mike. And when we came together, told each other our stories and co-created Breath Framework as B for begin, R, reclaim your power, E, excavate your core values, A, allow, T, through, and H, healing. And that mirrors what I was talking about before, mirrors our whole journey from beginning to healing. And now we reside, and we're constantly evolving and healing, but we reside in this soul-centered place where we've aligned with our true selves. And as soon as I started to do that, I realized that this small consulting company needed to be something that I was focusing on. It was like, what do you do? This is not what I want. I don't want to do pharmaceutical consulting. No offense to anyone that wants to do that, but this is not. And I started like sort of coaching one or two people. And the way that I felt when I coached them, it was like impacting life and healing souls. And like due to my life experience, I fortunately or unfortunately have been through a lot. And there's very little that people can tell me that I'm like, wow, I can't relate at all. You know, like I really like feel a deep connection with many, many people. And I started to post on LinkedIn and gather some sort of like following and engagement. And I started on this, we coined this term, the Soul Center. And we created the Soul Center Experience live show and created this thing that we call the Soul Center, where people can go and, you know, be vulnerable and discuss their issues and work through this breath framework. And as we continue to evolve, more clients are joining and we're now working with corporations. And so this has become my full-time gig. And it's, I mean, I said the other day, and then I'll wrap it up. Like, if you gave me $1 trillion tomorrow, I wouldn't change one thing about my workday. This is exactly what I'm supposed to do. Exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I say that with every bit of realness and authenticity that I could possibly say. Like, there's nowhere else I'm supposed to be. My team is the most incredible people I've ever known in my life, most of whom I've never met in person. And, you know, this is like, I feel like I'm dreaming a lot of times because I can't believe that it's become this thing that's healing souls and that I get to heal every day by healing souls. So that's sort of my story. In a nutshell.
No, that's beautiful. Like, not many people could say that they wouldn't trade what they're doing, like their life's work right now, for $1 trillion.
I mean,
and I think that's remarkable, and that speaks to the testament of you actually unlocking your purpose, utilizing your gifts, and living that fulfilled life. If you think about, you know, you talked about your previous walks of life in terms of, you know, your marriage and, you know, that, you know, you transitioned away from that marriage. Now, you know, life still continues. You got to move on.
You have kids and life.
You have kids. People don't realize that when you make that decision to get out of the, you know, they call it going through the motions of life. But when you actually step out of that and step out into a uncomfortable position, there's growth there, right? So step out of your comfort zone. And as a result, you've unlocked something, right?
There's one more piece I want to mention, which is important for people to understand, which I'm actually just sort of discovering now. When I leaned into this company this year, and it was just this year in 2021, to make it something really special and big, I needed something from my dad, not money. I needed something. And I realized when I leaned in and met him with my business plan and we went over everything, I realized what I needed, and it wasn't approval, which is what it had always been in my past. It was support. So understanding the difference between approval and support was such a huge learning for me, because wanting people's support is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Asking for people's support is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Needing people's approval chips away at your soul. So
I need fire in the chat.
Fire in the chat. Fire in the chat for that one. Let's get that going.
That's
Fire in the chat. That's fire.
You know, that's where it's at. That's how I feel. That's the end of my little.
That's so real. Oh my god.
Nah, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Annie. Karina, what about you? When was that time where the light bulb went off? You had that eureka moment and said, "Okay, this is my purpose."
There's definitely been phases. So I'll walk you through a couple of things. For one, I think I always knew. So my sister, like, look at this.
Is that you? Is that little Karina?
That's little Karina drawing backstage at a performance. I wasn't planning on showing that. It's just right here.
Yeah.
My little sister said this to me recently. She was like, Karina, you're a different case. You've always known who you want to be and what you want to do. And I never allowed anyone to tell me otherwise. Like, they tried. People have tried. But I just knew. I knew what I wanted for my life. And part of it was really like the creative aspect of it. But I realized more that being an artist, that's just who I am. There's no negotiating that. I'm not going to do anything else with my life. There's no way I can. Are you guys getting really bad feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's not me. I tried to mute. I thought maybe it was me.
Maybe if I do this. Headphones. Oh, wait. Did that help when Reggie? Yeah. Either way, I'm going to put headphones on. See if that helps, because I don't want people to be like, she's talking truth, but I can't
understand.
I can't understand. That's annoying.
All right, no, we're good.
Okay, good. But yeah, there was never any negotiating me being an artist. Like, that's just I was 3 years old. I was on the stage, and my parents, luckily, have been very supportive. It's been about relearning that is part of what I do, and accepting that I don't have to change to fit in and be some kind of person that is in ticky-tacky homes, you know. But for me, there's a lot of profound realization around that, because what I do and my purpose are sort of two different things. I am very much called to create, and I'll show you some artistic stuff in a second. But it goes so much deeper than just to create art. I'm not here solely to perform on stages and make luxury artwork. That's something I do. That's something that will be lucrative. But my purpose is really to get engaged civically, to show up, to be a voice for the voiceless, or to tell people that there's no such thing really as a voiceless person. We all have a voice. And so helping people align with their, on a very cellular level, like in the body, opening your chakras up and keeping everything clear and becoming very aligned. That's something that has been profound for me. Like, healing in my physical body has been very profound. That helped me. In 2019, I met a spiritual leader named Michael Singer, and we had a literal heart-to-heart, because we were talking. He has a place called Temple of the Universe, and wrote a book called The Untethered Soul. And he happened to donate a classroom in my senior year of college at the University of Florida. And I was like holding the book, and I look at the wall at the classroom, and I'm like, this is the same person. Like, you did this. And so I went to the temple, and I asked him, as I was in the midst of drawing what evolved to be my first illustrative book. And I asked him, like, what do I do? Like, I don't know how to publish a book. And he put his hand on his heart and he was just like, you just keep drawing. And one day the right person's going to be in the room. Just keep drawing, bring it with you, and tell the truth. Don't worry about helping other people. Just align with your story and tell the truth. And that's all you need to know.
Tell the truth. I love that.
Yeah. So that was a big, profound awakening. And that sparked a series of oil paintings that I created called the Lies We Tell Ourselves series. Because I realized that I was lying to myself in my brain all of the time. I was telling myself things like, on a 24-hour cycle, like, you're not good enough, you're unlovable, like you'll never be that, or you're too much, you're not enough, like all of those things. It's like, oh, really? I'm both? I'm too much and I'm not enough? Really? Like, it's both of those things? How is that possible? So I realized that that's a bunch of malarkey. And that made me really go into some self-examination. And I discovered, like in his book, it says there are two voices in our heads: the voice that talks and the voice that listens. And we are the voice that listens. The voice that talks is every story we've ever been told about ourselves, everything, every mark of disapproval, every stereotype we've ever heard, all of the things that are not in truth who we are. The voice that talks, it sounds like us, but it's not us. It's everything external. The voice that listens is us. So we get to control, like, what are we going to lean into? That was a huge awakening. And then quarantine happened. And on January 1st, I wrote, "Thank you, damn it," on the front of this cover. And I decided that this would be my radical gratitude journal. And I would just write in here. And so this is right on this page. I wrote every single name, every person that has helped shape me, whether I know them in person or not. It's like 5 layers of just me thanking in my heart every person who's helped build me. And then this is the view outside my window right here. And then it just keeps going on. And I wrote, like, the opening, I'm grateful to be pissed off on my own behalf. And I continue writing. And what I ended up doing, without knowing I was going to, was I documented all of the things we saw in 2020. The civil upset, the unrest, the freaking pandemic. I had no idea any of that stuff would happen, but I had already started documenting it. And, and I began commenting on things that were really important, like the erasure of history and censorship. And, I experience in life, like, these encounters with some really life-changing, world-healing people that it's a responsibility to document it. And so I do that through my art. That's what I do, but my purpose is to meet those people. I've learned that art history happens in small rooms with like few people. We've got it all twisted. We think that we want to be internet famous to make a difference in life, and we don't. Sure, engagement's great, but you can make a real difference just having a one-on-one conversation with someone. And so the past several years, some of those things have happened, and I'm aligning deeper with that.
That's awesome. I want to say fire in the chat because you dropped a few nuggets, a few fireballs. Look at that. Look at that. You talked about the voice that talks, the voice that listens versus the voice that listens.
I wrote that down.
Yeah, like I think that's brilliant, right? Because it's true. Like, we have ongoing dialogues with ourselves constantly throughout the day, whether it be negative, whether it be positive. A lot of it is self-doubt, right? But if you could train your mind to talk with more positivity, you could manifest a lot more. You could go a lot further, right? You start to quiet down that voice that listens, where you're just like, okay, no, I'm not going to listen to that voice anymore. The one that's telling me I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not good enough. right? So you got to raise the vibrations in order for you to then come into your purpose, right? And then the thank you, damn it, gratitude journal. Like,
thank you, damn it. That's
yeah,
right.
like we have to be thankful for not just the good things that happen into our lives, but also the bad ones. We people may say, like, why are you thanking, like, why are you being thankful for the hardships that you went through? Because you have to. This is all part of the process.
Made me who I am.
It's a mechanism to help you move on. And that's the whole point of healing, right? Now, from both of your experiences, what are your thoughts just on the subject of healing when it comes to people embracing it? And what I mean by that is, here we are on a platform like LinkedIn. We're not talking about networking. We're not talking about personal branding right now. And people may question, like, why are we talking about this? Right? Why do you think people often shy away from the topic of healing?
It's very scary for people to dig in and look at themselves and turn the lens around. It's really easy, much easier to point blame. And then the beginning of healing can present a little like shame and blame to yourself. And that's not the point of it. But I will tell you that once you get over that hump of that shame and blame that we put on yourself, you go on this amazing, beautiful journey. I'll tell you one thing that really explains, to answer your question, I think. Coaches have coaches. So months ago, my coach said to me, there was someone in my life I was talking about, and I had to sever our relationship. It was toxic. And I was angry. And she said to me, she's your biggest gift. Thank her. Thank that person. And I was like, hell no. Thank her. She put me through this, and this. I don't have any thanks for her. And she goes, she gave you a PhD in how not to be. And I was like, damn. I was like, damn, that just struck me. And I was just like, that trauma and that relationship was my biggest gift. The thing that hurt me the most in my life was my biggest gift. How's that even possible? But it is. And as soon as I shifted and pivoted that thinking, my healing became an easier, softer process.
I love that. I love that. I love that. It's like, that's the biggest gift that you received, right?
Yeah. And it was
like you said, and like your coach said, it taught you how not to be.
Totally. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with that person. This person was, was toxic in my life and ruined, and then it was like, wait a minute, hold on, Annie, tap the brakes. Let's heal from this. Let's not just say, cut her out of your life. Let's heal. The healing was the knowing. The healing was the knowing that that's a gift. That I'm right here doing what I'm doing because of that gift.
What else did it unlock for you? When you said, okay, well, you took in those words from the coach, you processed it, you started to do the work. What did the work look like? And then what did you unlock? Like, what did it open up for you?
True forgiveness. Not as much for that person, as I'm still working through that, more for myself. There's a quote that I just read the other day that really struck me. Hold on, I'm going to read it to you. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you lived through it. Mm-hmm. Hear that one more time. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you lived through it.
Say it one more time.
Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you lived through it.
Jeez.
Right? That was like, bam. So that's what it taught. That's how my real healing journey started. I was like, I need to forgive me for going through that, for dealing with that, for putting up with that, for not knowing my worth. I had to forgive me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For not knowing what I didn't know.
That is so true. Because once you knew what it was doing to you,
then I was like, that I could build my worth in order to have it stop doing that to me. Mm-hmm. But if I just heard that and was like, this person's toxic, get them out of your life, that's not healing. That's part of it. That's severing a relationship, which is really hard. And that's, getting the toxicity out. But that doesn't mean you're healing yourself. That doesn't mean you're on the journey of doing the work. Doing the work is like I said, it's the knowing.
Mm-hmm. And remember, you can forgive someone and never give them access to you again. Forgiveness is a vibrational frequency. It's in your being, like you can decide, I forgive that person. They don't even have to know. You you adjusted the frequency. You don't have to talk to them and tell them. You don't have to have an hour-long conversation with them and be like, oh, I forgive you because of this, and then invite more toxicity.
No, it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is forgiving is not condoning. That, and neither is acceptance and allowing. So people get that very, very confused. And I did for a long time. They think if I forgive this, I'm saying it was okay. No, it wasn't okay. None of it was okay. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I'm going to harbor it, because my favorite quote in the world is, if you want to be a slave, harbor your resentments. And I will not walk around harboring my resentments, because then I'm the slave to them, and I won't do it.
Yeah. And there's so much power in that, because, and I'll use that word power, and I'll use it again, because you are giving that power away to that individual or group of individuals that have a stranglehold on those very emotions that get you upset, frustrated, and then you just remain stuck.
Yeah, you can't. And who's suffering when you're not who's suffering? You're suffering, and you're just giving away all of your power and worth. And I just decided one day, I'm done. I'm done with that. And I'm not, I did get less angry. I did. I don't walk around angry at all. I'm more kind of just accepting. This is who this person is. This is what's going on. This is where I am now.
Cool. And I want to ask you too, what was, you could paint the picture of a very traumatic experience in your life. It's up to you to pick. But what was that traumatic experience? How did it impact you? And what did you do to heal from it? And again, what path did it really, what did you recognize about yourself? I know, Andy, you kind of touched upon the one that just now in the example that you gave us, but is there any other like really hardcore traumatic experiences that the healing process really took a turn for you in a productive way?
Go ahead, Karina. You want to answer?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that come to mind, and I want to see. I think that I have a composition notebook somewhere here, and I wrote it down, and that's the easiest, most clear way I can describe the healing process, because that's part of my healing process is writing. But I've been through a lot. I mean, I'm gonna unplug my headphones while I look for it. Hopefully, there's no feedback. But I mean, I've experienced like a family member having a psychotic break, and an episode, just me and them, one-on-one, full forced, like they did not know even who I was, my own family. And that was like really traumatic. And then I've had other family experiences that, like, for example, when my grandfather died, he died in my arms. Like, I watched his soul transition. And that was my first book that I ever wrote and illustrated. It's called Where Do Things Go When They Die? And that was in 2014. And it's a story of Gigi the goldfish. And she comes home from school and she's all sad, like, wait, what? You said they go where? How? And it's non-denominational. It just paints the pictures of all of the different things that people believe. Like, some people think we're reincarnated as a dove, or that we come back as another human and stuff. And she's like, so mommy, what do you believe? And is all talking about that. And what's amazing, here's me and my grandfather. What's amazing about this story, especially to me, is that it was Cecilia, my little sister, Angelica Cecilia is her name, and I made her the main character. And she just took a picture like almost exactly like this, because she just graduated nursing school, or is graduating nursing school. And I swear her graduation photo looks exactly the same. And she was only like, she was maybe in 10th grade when I did this, and now she's finishing nursing school. So that explains a little bit about some of my journey, and my healing process is always art, and also thinking about others in the context to art, thinking about owning the story. Like, that's what this is too. You know, I talk about the psychotic break in here a lot, in one section, because I was really processing that. And I wrote out every single symptom a person has when they have a psychotic episode, every single symptom. And because I thought, you know what? I know I'm not the only person who's dealt with this. And I'm certainly not the only person who's dealt with death. I think we might all deal with it at some point. And so, you know, that's important. Like, to be able to just claim the story, just to tell the truth. Like, that's what it always comes down to. It's always about truth. You are not responsible for how another person receives the truth when you tell it, but you are responsible for owning it and just delivering the truth. As long as you deliver it with the vibration of love, sneeze on it. Sneeze on it. Yeah, I mean, that's been a huge healing journey. And then I want to share another story, but I want to share it with the context of the composition book. So maybe Annie, would you go ahead and share?
You know, for me, like, my writing is very, very healing for me. And this is going to sound a little bit funny, but part of what heals me every day is my content that I create. Because, you know, my whole MO is to show up exactly as I am. This is what's going on. So it could be business. It could be my kids. It could be my personal life. It could be anything. And I bring it to the forefront, and I try to tie in a lesson of healing and soul-centeredness to everything I post. And that is a very important part of my healing process. And that's why I do it every single day. You know, it doesn't matter if I have 100,000 followers or 10 followers. It's all about me healing, because my stories can help other people to heal.
Yes.
So, you know, I've told about divorce. I've talked about, you know, addiction. I've talked about mental health. I've talked about all that stuff. And then, you know, I'll tell funny stories, but it's just where I am at the moment, and show it to piggyback on what Karina said, showing up as you, telling your story as your truth, which is what that says in Hebrew, emes, in Yiddish, actually. And that's how you heal.
No, I love that. And, you know, we see it all, like you said, all over your content. You don't hold back, which is why your audience really loves to see your post, because it's resonating with the people that engage with your post. It speaks volumes, because at the end of the day, you're sharing your story, and you know your story is going to have impact on others because they're going through the same thing. There's a saying, and I'm going to put it out here for everybody: the more you reveal, the more you heal, right? And that's the power in terms of what these two ladies are doing right now. You know, they joined me on this journey to talk about stories and experiences that they had within their lives that broke them down, but they didn't stay down. They got back up, dusted themselves off, and have now really embraced who they truly are, and put them on the path of their purpose. And as we close the curtain on this discussion, I'm starting to do a new thing with my guests at the tail end. So you guys want to try it out?
Sure.
I'll explain what it is. I know you guys are probably like, what is he talking about? I'll explain. But each of you, and I'm going to put you in a solo layout, will have the opportunity to close your eyes. Okay. And during this moment, I'll walk you through a sequence, and then I want you just to respond to it. Okay. So, Karina, we're going to start with you. Okay. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. So the way this works is that this is DYOS. This is an experience. Right now, you are having an experience. We're tapping into your inner soul. You're embracing your other self. I want you to teach the audience what it means to maximize your life. So as you close your eyes, start to envision the optimal life that is for you. What does that look like? And if right now you are living that ultimate life, what is that one major thing or things, could be up to 3, that helped you unlock it? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Creation, allowing myself to be loved, and choosing to love in truth.
Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. So creation, choosing to love,
Allowing myself to be loved.
allowing yourself to be loved. Awesome. Why does that resonate with you the most? So how does describe that a little bit? Why is that the optimal life experience for you?
Because it's all that matters. Like, love is all that matters. Experiencing it, allowing yourself to, and there's all kinds of different kinds of love. You know, you can have it be romantic. That's great. And it's so much more than just that. Like, you can really be in love and meet every person you meet in the day in love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Fire in the chat for Karina. Let's get fire in the chat. All right, let's go. Let's do this. All right. Annie, you ready?
Okay.
Same thing goes for you. Close your eyes. Envision what that optimal life experience looks like. Again, if you're already living it right now, describe what are the 3 things that helped you unlock it. But if you're not, because it's all part of the visualization process, what does the optimal life experience look like for you? Go ahead.
So I am living in the optimal life experience right now, but I can still tell you that truth and connection and love got me there, to this place that I call the soul center. And not to be a broken record, but I'll just tell you again what that means. It means you are in a place of wholeness, of passion-driven purpose, of oneness. You are fulfilled, you have personal freedom, and you are aligned with your core values. And that's the soul center. When you can reach that place, your healing journey, I believe, never stops. But if you can reach that place, it is truly the optimal life.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we have truth, connection, love. I love these elements. And you know, you went on further to talk about, you know, the passion. You have a passion for helping people live their purpose-driven life, right? And the healing process, as you said, it doesn't stop. You got to continue on that journey. But again, that word unlock is critical, because there's many levels to all of us. It's up to us, in order for us to really dig deep, figure out what we want out of life, and then go after it. And that's why I asked that final question, because it's important. We all need to kind of visualize what our life is going to be and go after it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So I'm going to close things off. But before we do, let's do a little bit of promotion, shall we? So Annie, you can check out Annie Lieb LLC at www.annielieb.com. Check out her breath framework. It's something that's very special and magical, and really and truly, it's simple enough, but is very impactful.
Thank you.
You know, it's when you look at the framework, you don't get intimidated like other frameworks that are out there. And that's why I say it's simple yet impactful, because it's practical in a sense where you could actually apply it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very thought-provoking. It's very, as you say, soul-centered. So we appreciate you for sharing that gift and your mission with others.
Thank you.
And Karina, let's visit Karina's website at www.karinacreale.com. and check out her artwork. And you saw her art's on display. She's got, oh man, like I don't even know how many. We can't even put a number to it, can we?
I don't know. It's definitely
Right?
hundreds, maybe thousands at this point of artworks. It's very exciting. All the different mediums of art.
No, that's awesome. And if you want to check out my book, it's on pre-order right now. Go to www.discoveryourotherself.com. My name is Reggie Waterman, and we are signing off. I appreciate all of you tuning in, and follow these two ladies. And the best place to follow them is what? LinkedIn, Instagram. What do we got?
LinkedIn.
All right.
LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever you want to go. I'm there.
Just don't follow them in person. Like, don't follow them.
That's
in person.
weird.
Do that at all.
Social
You won't be
distance.
welcome at all.
We got to be responsible.
Yes.
Anyways, beautiful people. Love you.
Thanks, Reggie. Love you.
Take care. Bye.
Mwah.